Hi, I'm Randy Schwantz, the developer of the I-1 Agency Growth System. And in my mind, there's always this three big struggles that agency principals have. Number one, how do you motivate the bottom 80% of producers? Number two, how do you find, develop, and hire new producers? And number three, with such a limited amount of time, how do you actually develop your sales force? And what I want to get into today is that problem number two, the new producer thing. And I've got something special for you here I think you're really going to like. And this is an infographic that was put out by Reagan Consulting. You can see right down here at the bottom. It was funded by Amerisure, Chubb, Cincinnati, CNA, Hanover, the Hartford, and the Council of Insurance Agents and Brokers. I'm sure they spent a lot of money putting this together because it's so much about the success of the industry. So let's get started on it. And there's one fact I absolutely promise you is going to blow you away. It blew me away when I really started to consider and think about it that's on this document. So it's coming up. Let's get started here. So number one, right there, you see right there, 56% is overall success rate of producer hires within the industry based upon this. And that was based upon having hired, in their research, they had somewhere in the range of 562 firms plus 112, so 670 firms, 7,000, almost 7,000 producers. That was their history from 2008 to 2013. Something like that. So with that said, 55%, 56% success ratio. You know, not bad. But here's the part that blows you away. And you look at this. Right here it says 84% success ratio is that of the top 25% brokers. So the top 25 people out there had an 84% success ratio. But then you come down like this, 22% success ratio of the bottom 25%. Just do the math here real fast, because this was what this looks like in my book. You know, these guys, they hire 10, they got 8.4 people working for them. These guys over here, they hire 8, they got 2 people working for them. So really 8 minus 2, that's 6 failures for the bottom 25% of firms. These guys doing well. No stats on how the middle people are doing. You just have to extrapolate that maybe they're doing 50% or something like that. But interesting stat, I do believe. Come on down here to number 3. I'll get up here where you can see it. Where do these hires come from? Well, out of 100% of hires, it says 35% of hires are coming from outside the industry. That means 6% from college, and another like 29% are just outside the industry. All right, so that's where they came from. The other part is that right here, it says 10% are non-sales insurance people. What does that mean? Well, it must have meant that they were underwriters, they were account managers, they were accountants, they were something. That's 10%, that accounts for 30, now we're at 45%. Here's the next piece. Experienced producers with a book of business, right here it says accounts for 16%, and then experienced producers without a book of business accounts for 39%. So 39% plus 16% is 55%. So here's the number that blows me away. Look at this. 55% are experienced producers. 56% is the success rate. You would think if you're hiring an experienced producer and you bring them from that shop into your shop, that the success ratio would be 100%. They were successful there, why not be successful for you? But something's missing here, because according to that stat right there, just do the math. 44% still failure ratio across the board at large. So that tells you something's missing in this equation, something's wrong. What is it? I don't know. But let's keep going here with some of the stats. Another very interesting stat, that males succeed at a 61% rate. You'll see that right there. And females succeed at a 63% rate. Now, here's the irony again. I don't mean to be picking this apart, but how can you have a 61 and 63% blended 62% ratio of effectiveness and only have 50% success here? Doesn't make sense, but que sera, that's what people are saying, right? Let's move on down, or up. This one. It says that 55 to 60%, almost 2/3 of firms are under hiring. That you're not hiring enough people to support the desired growth that you want. 2/3 of you. Whoa, big number. And how do you know if you're under hiring? Well, you come over here and he says that, oh, let me get out of the way. Right here it says 12%, boom, is the average sales velocity. What's sales velocity? Sales velocity is how much new business written this year divided by the total book last year equals sales velocity. So right now the average is 12.7. If you're below 12.7, man, you're in tough shape. That means you need new producers to start to fill in the gaps where the old veteran and legacy producers not getting the job done. Here's another very interesting stat. 53.3 is the average weight of agency shareholders right here. That's what this is. And in 2008, the average age was 51.1. In 2013, it's 53.3. In a 5-year period of time, the average age got 2 years older. You know, you go another 5 years from now, it's going to be average 55 years old. It's getting old. It needs new talent to bring it in and bring that age down. But here's the weighted average of the producers all across the board is right here. It says 48.7%. Again, you go back and you look at 2008, it was 46.6. Now it's 48.7. In 5 years, it got 2 years older. The only way it could get 2 years older is that you're not bringing enough new talent into the mix. And then here's a deal that will really substantiate something. I just don't know what. Number 10, 63% success rate for producers endorsed. I'll just read the fine print. By a pre-hiring test, this was 12 points higher than producers not recommended by a test or with inconclusive results. Do the math. We're 12% better than 50-50. You could flip a coin, boom, and this is 12 points better than that by using a pre-hiring test. What does that tell me? Well, I'm going to let you come up with all your own critical assertions on this. But what it tells me is that what people are doing is not working very well, that we need to do a better job of locating, recruiting, hiring, training, and developing new producers if your firm is going to be successful, it's going to perpetuate. So now let's just quickly look at what he calls the 6 critical success factors for recruiting and development. What's number 1? It says right there, define the hiring needs. How many new people do you need to hire so that you're bringing enough people to be able to write enough new business and increase your chances to perpetuate this thing? You need to define that. Do the math. It's a math problem. Number 2, determine who to hire. Well, in a sense, that's really hard. In another sense, that's really easy. If they don't have core characteristics like the ability to deal with rejection, why would you ever hire anybody that could not deal with rejection? If they can't deal with rejection, they won't prospect. They don't prospect. They won't have anybody to sell. If they don't have anybody to sell, they will not hit their numbers. So you got to make sure they can deal with rejection. You got to make sure they're resilient. Resilient means what? Well, people, they're going to have bad months, bad days, bad weeks, bad years. It happens to everybody. You know, so it's like throw them against the wall. Are they resilient? Will they get up and go charge again? Or will they kind of go hide behind their head ass and quick? So rejection, resilient, good at relationship, probably already. Are they good at economic drive? If they don't have strong economic drive, even if you hire them successful for a while, then what happens? They kind of get up there and they kind of die off in terms of their drive. So when they've got strong economic drive, strong drive, there's a lot of things in that, then they'll keep charging through the next level, next level, next level. And then are they coachable? If they're not coachable, man, you're just bound. Whatever they do wrong, they're going to repeat the same old mistakes because they're not coachable. And it happens all the time. So that's number 2, determining whom to hire. Number 3, building the candidate pool. Look, no offense if you sit there and go, I want to go hire a recruiter and let them do all the hard work. Because for about $10,000, they will deliver you, apparently, 55% of what they're going to deliver to you is somebody else's person that either it was a retread and didn't make it, or they're doing really well. But think about it. Why would they be doing really well and never leave? They hardly ever do. So either they're a retread, they're not making it here, so they're probably not going to make it there, or they're making it here, but it's a dog type agency with no potential for ownership, not really growth, no services to support them, and they're looking for a firm that's really strong. That's probably why the top 25% agencies have 84% ratio. They probably provide a lot of services. It's a great place to be, perpetuation, stock ownership, all that sort of stuff. Number 4, elevating the ability to select winners. That's number 4, right there, right above my hand. Look, I think the Navy SEALs have a lot to teach us here. Look, if the Navy SEALs could determine if you're going to be successful by putting you through a personality test, they wouldn't waste all their time putting you out in the ocean, carrying logs, carrying your boat, firing, sleep deprivation, food deprivation, all that sort of stuff. But the reason they put people through all that stuff, the Navy SEALs, is determined, do they have enough grit? Are they mentally strong enough to make it through? That's another way to call it resilience. One of the biggest, about the only reason that somebody's not successful in this business is they've got no personality, they're not that bright, or they're just not resilient. Because if they have personality and they're bright and they're resilient, they'll continue to charge and work their way through to be successful. So I developed a process, a 4-interview hiring process that I'll just tell you about in a moment, but has developed a 29 out of 34 hiring ratio. So just something for you to think about. Number 5, maximize the success of those that are hired. Congratulations, you're hired. Here's your phone book. You need to go build your own prospect list out of the phone book. We'll send you off to some technical training, but we don't really do sales training because we've got 5 different styles here. So kind of good luck. And that's it. So maximizing the success of those that are hired is incredibly important. You just made a $50,000, $75,000, $100,000 investment. You know, now they're in here, that's an asset. If you had a $100,000 asset in the stock market, you expect it to grow. Well, now you got a $100,000 asset here, and you need to put something in it to get it to grow. You got to train these people. And then number 6, owning and leading the strategy. Somebody's got to own it. It won't happen by itself. And it probably can't be done by committee. And I talk about that in my book. So what do you mean the book, Randy? Well, here's my book. How to Find, Hire, and Train New Producers. And then kind of subtitle, Finding, Hiring, Training Producers has never been easier. Look, I've got 90 clients right now, 90 agencies that I'm helping with their hiring process, as well as integrating them into the iWin agency growth system. Because their whole goal is to transform their agency, to turn all this pent-up potential into real profit, into real money, into agency value, into more profits. So that's what's coming up. I hope you watch for my book coming up. Again, there's the title, How to Find, Hire, and Train New Producers. I'm Randy Schwantz. Hope you enjoyed it. Signing off.